Hey, this is Aradhana. Welcome to my channel Student Point. My channel may be helpful for the student of B.Ed Education, Sanskrit and Sociology. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Today I am going to explain about educational psychology. Before I explain this, first we know what is education, what is psychology, what's the relationship between education and psychology, then the nature of educational psychology and the scope of educational psychology. Let's see the video. Educational psychology. First thing, what is the meaning of education? Education is the most important invention of mankind. It is more important than his invention of tools, machines, spacecraft, medicine, weapons, and even of language, because language too was the product of his education. Man without education would still be living just like an animal. According to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, a teacher has to help the bird into full bloom and not to make paper flowers to satisfy his whims. Education is essentially for all. The concept of education is dynamic. It is concerned with the growing individual in an ever growing society. Education is a process in which and by which the knowledge, character, and the behavior of the young are shaped and molded. Education also helps the individual to have adjustment with the environment, physical and social. Then, what is psychology? The concept of psychology is in terms of behavior, conscious or unconscious. Behavior is the external expression of our mental process. Psychology, as the science of behavior, studies the total response of the organism to different situations of life. In this sense, psychology studies behavior, physical as well as mental, normal as well as abnormal, child behavior as well as adult behavior. It is the science which aims to give us better understanding and control of the behavior of the organism as whole. Then third thing, the relationship between psychology and education. The meaning and the nature of educational psychology can be best studied when we understand the relationship between the terms psychology and education. Psychology, as we know, it is the science of behavior. It is the science which gives us better understanding and control of the behavior of the organism as a whole. Education, in its simple meaning, implies the modification of behavior. In order to modify behavior, the educator must know how a certain child behaves in a certain situation. It is in this sense that psychology and education are the interrelated. What psychology studies is used by education for its purpose. Then fourth, the nature of educational psychology. What is the meaning of educational psychology and nature? There is an ever increasing awareness that almost all educational problems are ultimately the problems of psychology. This means that education and psychology are intimately and inseparably connected with each other. Psychology is the study of human behavior, and education is the process aiming at the modification of human behavior. Thus, both deal with the human behavior. Psychology and education are just the two sides of a coin. According to Skinner, educational psychology deals with the behavior of human beings in educational situations. According to Crow and Crow, educational psychology describes and explains the learning experiences of an individual from birth through old age. Let us see the following points, the nature of educational psychology. First point is it is an applied science. Educational psychology is an applied science, or we may say applied psychology because it is the applications of psychological principles to the field of education. Then second point, it is a positive science. Educational psychology is a positive science and not a normative science. This means that it just explains the educational facts as they are and doesn't pass judgment over them. Thus, it studies the laws of child's nature as they are and has nothing to do with ought to be. Then third point is it is a social science. Educational psychology is a positive science. It is a social science, not a normative science. Though educational psychology studies the individual from educational point of view, it results that applicable to all the individuals or at least to a group of individuals. Then fourth point is it is an educational science. By its very implications, educational psychology deals with the educational problems only. Thus, while general psychology deals with the behavior of the individuals in various spheres, educational psychology studies the behavior of the individual in the educational sphere only. Then fifth is specific science. The science of psychology is somewhat general in nature. It studies the human mind in its entirety, whereas educational psychology selects from the whole field of general psychology only those facts and principles that are of specific significance and utility for the process of learning and teaching. Then it is a practical science. Educational psychology is not merely speculative in nature but with no relevance to the world of reality. It is rather utilitarian and practical in nature. The educator and the teacher makes use of the knowledge of educational psychology at every step. In fact, effective teaching is impossible without the knowledge of educational psychology. Then it is a growing and a developing science. The science of educational psychology is ever growing due to constant researches in the field. This science deals with the human nature, which is too deep to be proved fully. New facts about human nature are therefore coming to the forefront on account of researches in this field. Thus, the science of educational psychology is ever growing and developing. Then, an academic discipline. It is so since that educational psychology is an academic discipline. It is so since it is focused upon the human behavior. Its results can be summarized or generalized into principles and theories. This information, the knowledge, its principles, its methodology, all that constitutes the substance of educational psychology provides a base for educational theory and practice. Then the last part is the scope of educational psychology. Scope of a subject implies its field of study. Speaking in specific terms, it means the area of study that are included in a particular subject. The scope of educational psychology is wide and ever increasing. Educational psychology is securing greater and greater importance in the field of education. This is the following facts may be mentioned which are indicates the scope of educational psychology. First thing, human behavior. It studies human behavior in educational situations. Psychology is the study of behavior and education deals with the modification of behavior. Hence, educational psychology pervades the whole field of education. Then second is growth and development. It studies growth and development of the child, how a child passes through the various stages of growth and what are the characteristics of each stage are included in the study of educational psychology. Then third thing is learning process. It studies the law of learning. Learning is a major phenomenon in education. It studies how learning can take place most effectively and economically. Then fourth thing is heredity and environment. Effects of heredity and environment. To what extent heredity and environment contribute towards the growth of the individual and how this knowledge can be made use of for bringing about the optimum development of the child form a silent feature of the scope of educational psychology. Then fifth, development and adjustment of personality. Educational psychology deals with the nature and the development of the personality of an individual. In fact, education has been defined as an all-round development of the personality of an individual. Personality development also implies a well-adjusted personality. Then sixth thing, the individual difference. Every individual differs from every other individual is one of the fundamental facts of human nature which has been brought to light by educational psychology. This one fact has revolutionized the concept and process of education. Then seventh, intelligence and its measurement. The scope of educational psychology included the study of the nature of intelligence as well as its measurement. This is of utmost importance for a teacher or an educator. Then eighth thing, providing guidance and counseling. This is one of the most important fields and areas of study included in the field of educational psychology. Education is nothing but providing guidance to the growing child. Thus, guidance forms an important aspect of educational psychology. In addition to these, many other aspects of education, growth, development, personality and character formation, adjustment, causes of maladjustment and their remedies, mental hygiene and growth of a balanced personality are included in the field of educational psychology. So these are the things which I described briefly. I hope you will understand. Thank you for watching my video.